financial problems, elder law, criminal law, tax problems, business matters, divorce, personal injury, bankruptcy, your life, your reality. Life is complicated. There is the law and there is reality. Welcome to Law and Reality, sponsored by THAV GROSS. Now here's your host, Ken Gross.
Welcome to this segment of Law and Reality. Today's topic is contested probate matters. Kind of a new topic from the standpoint of what we talk about week to week. Brian Small, good morning.
Good morning, Ken. I am just so excited about contested probate matters.
Probate matters actually are exciting. Jeffrey Linden.
Good morning, Ken. You're so wrong. Probate matters have all of the excitement of nasty contested divorce cases, criminal cases, and business divorces.
Oh, good. So this is going to be like a soap opera.
Well,
yes, very much.
General Hospital or Days of Our Lives?
No.
I mean, because a probate
More
matter
like,
is inherently a family
Dynasty?
fight.
No.
Dallas?
Dynasty, I
No,
like.
no soap operas.
Oh.
Soap operas are sleep fest.
Kind of like Knots Landing.
Knots Landing.
There's
Okay.
rarely love interests.
But, I mean, if you think about it, typically, if you have a contested probate matter, it's a family fight of some sort. It's a question of how big the family is and how extended it is, but it has to do with a fight over a provision in a trust, a provision in a will, or guardianship or control of somebody who is
Disabled in some way.
disabled and living,
Yeah.
or somebody who's passed away and didn't have a will.
So we're not talking about the Brady Bunch here.
No, and who are the parties to a contested probate matter?
Well,
It's
the parties are going to be the beneficiaries, heirs. If they're not beneficiaries, heirs are basically the people the law says inherit your property if you didn't plan.
And the creditors sometimes.
Creditors.
All right,
Well,
so what?
Wait.
so-
I think you got to go back because I don't think a lot of people really understand the word probate in the first place and what the probate court is.
Okay. So probate is the legal process of disposing of a deceased person's assets in the common sense of assets after they've died. And it's a process, if you haven't created a trust or taken things what are called out of probate, then you have to get court orders to appoint a person with the legal authority to do your business for you.
So if you have a
essentially, and take care
will-
of it. So if you have a will, common misconception, I have a will, I don't have to go to probate. Wrong. If you have a will, you have to go to probate because the probate court confirms the will and then gives the authority to the people you've
all right,
identified in the
just
will.
for clarification, if I have a will
Yeah,
and I'm dead,
yeah.
I'm not going to probate court. I'm
You're dead.
Well, in your case, we
Down
might
there.
bring you.
in the casket,
Or
exhumed.
something.
So, but the will has to go through probate.
The will has to go through probate.
I know if I die without a will,
Probate.
probate. But if I have a trust, a revocable living trust, and I've funded my assets into the trust, and my other assets have passed, quote unquote, outside of probate, then I don't have to go to probate?
Yes.
How do assets pass outside of probate?
There's certain types of assets and devices that you can get out of probate. Joint accounts where it passes on death automatically by law.
So like a husband and wife have a bank account. If one of them dies, the other one automatically owns that account.
If it's titled joint with right of survivorship, yes.
Or if I have a TOD designation on the account, transfer on death?
Right, or POD, pay on death, same thing, different name. Exactly.
What about real estate?
Real estate, if you have deeds for married couples, joint tenancies by entirety, joint with right of survivorship, those all pass outside of probate.
All right, so, but if I have, let's say my wife and I, we own our house, I pass away, now she owns the house outright, but she hasn't transferred it into her trust, she passes away, now the house has to go through probate, right?
On her death.
Okay. And if I don't have a will, no trust, I die, the probate court's going to have to be invoked in order to distribute my assets?
Yeah.
Okay. So what's
And where does it go if you don't have a will? I mean, who gets it?
there's the law identifies your heirs, so that's basically your blood relatives. When people see the family tree, there's a sequence. Basically, it flows down the tree and then out to every branch until it finds living people, and it goes there.
So most of it goes to your spouse. Some of it's reserved for your children. If you have no spouse, it's going to your children. If you have grandchildren, it's going to them.
If you don't have a spouse or children, it goes up to your parents. If they're not living, it goes out to your brothers and sisters, and then down that tree until it finds
Finds
somebody.
a living person.
Yeah.
And if it finds
Okay, so-
nobody,
It's called escheated. It means it goes to the state in their unclaimed property.
is it called escheated?
Yeah.
Oh, because I always thought it was it's cheat, and it was because I liked that terminology because I felt like you were cheated and your money ended up going to the state.
I like that.
I'm good with that. So that's the normal situation. But now here we've got mom, dad, they did a will and a trust, and they're sitting there, and mom's the second to pass away, and now the money's going where the trust says, but somebody's unhappy.
Yeah, so you're setting the stage for a probate contest.
But do you have a probate contest if you have a trust, or do you have a probate contest only if you have a will?
So the court that handles disputes over trusts and wills is called the probate court. So you have a probate contest, but it's not the same usage.
It's
like
not-
probating a will is a process for a will. You don't probate a trust. You have a dispute, like a lawsuit, in probate court.
So the probate court handles certain types of disputes and certain
Correct.
types of issues, including the
Will
process of probating a will, but also anytime you have a dispute involving a trust or a will or the lack of a will,
Right.
that court fight.
Happens in probate court.
So effectively,
Also, it's
a
not-
probate contest is a court fight, right?
Yes, it's a lawsuit. I mean, probate
Okay.
courts also deal with guardianships and conservatorships for incapacitated people, so that encompasses
And that
the
can be
jurisdiction.
and
of
that can be a
court.
probate fight as well,
It can be.
because one person wants, you want mom to go guardian appointed. Mom doesn't want a guardian appointed. Mom hires her own attorney, and you're fighting whether mom's incapacitated or not.
Right.
Or you're fighting about mom is incapacitated, but Julie, the sister, wants control, and Ben, this brother, the son, wants control. These are all probate contests.
Sounds like a juicy soap opera to me.
All right, let's take a break. We come back. Let's start talking about a couple examples of a contest.
Carrying too much debt? Resolve your debt. Call THAV GROSS.
You don't need to be broke, and you don't need to hit rock bottom. If you have income and you're struggling with debt, dump it. Think about the next 10 or 20 years. If you do what the banks tell you, you'll have nothing to retire with. There is a solution.
Don't waste your future. Call THAV GROSS. We're experts at eliminating credit card debt. 888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP. Is the debt piling up? Struggling to get by?
It's all about preserving future income. Bankruptcy is one option. When it's right, it's the least costly, most effective way to save your home, eliminate a second mortgage, and wipe out credit card debt. But you need to address the problem now.
We help people with bankruptcy. Call the experts.
We're THAV Gross. Our firm will solve your problem.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP. You can't work. You have to deal with pain and stress. Worse yet, our system for applying for disability benefits seeks to deny you the benefits you're entitled. Jeff Kirshner is an expert in obtaining disability and workers' compensation benefits for his clients. You need to call Jeff before you apply or after you're denied to get the benefits you deserve. 888-235-HELP. 888-235-HELP. Tax problems are major problems. Don't let the IRS levy your wages and seize your assets. There is a solution.
We're THAV Gross. Our firm will solve your problem.
If you're behind on your taxes and owe money to the IRS, call THAV GROSS.
We've been solving tax problems for 32 years. We stop wage levies, resolve unfiled returns, and obtain the best possible settlements.
Call THAV GROSS today, 888-235-HELP.
The doctors ask if Dad's affairs are in order. Did Dad ever talk to you about what we should do in a situation like this?
Not a word.
What should we do?
We should have called Samasco.
Don't wait. All it takes is a quick call to Samasco Law or go online and fill out a request. we can get your needs and wishes set in stone so your family doesn't have to play a guessing game when the chips are down. Protect what matters. For power of attorney, call Samasco Law today.
If you're retired and in a financial crisis, there is a way out.
It pains me when I see a retired couple exhaust their savings by paying credit card bills and for a home hopelessly underwater.
THAV GROSS specializes in helping retired people in financial crisis.
You just can't keep paying until you're broke. You need to address the problem now.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem. All right, we're back. So let's talk about some contested probate matters. Okay, let me give you an example. Mom is being taken care of by Sister Annie. Mom changes her will and leaves almost everything to Annie.
The "what have you done for me lately" change.
Annie has the durable power of attorney over Mom's assets, and the assets seem to have vanished. Brother Bill is wondering what happened to the money, and Annie says, it's not your concern. Number one, I was the beneficiary of everything from Mom's estate, and if the money's gone, it doesn't matter, you don't get any anyway. What does Bill do?
Well, Bill.
Now, Mom is alive or Mom is dead? Let's talk about Mom being alive first.
Well, Mom is alive. If Mom is not competent, then if Annie has power of attorney, she has a fiduciary duty to preserve Mom's assets and take care of Mom for Mom's benefit.
You know, I get that question all the time. What does that mean, not competent? I mean, and who decides?
So
who decides whether somebody's competent or not?
So competency is a legal term. It means the legal ability to either enter into a contract or handle your affairs, personal or financial. And it's a legal standard, and it changes depending on what's at issue. So it's the same standard in legal as the ability to, in this case, as the ability to enter a contract. Ultimately, there's two ways to get it determined. Either two physicians who have examined the individual have signed a written declaration or letter saying that in their medical opinion, this person doesn't have the capacity to think through those issues and do those anymore, or it's a determination by a probate court after filing a petition.
So that's the determination of incompetency.
Yes.
Okay. What's a fiduciary duty?
Fiduciary duty is a legal duty when somebody, and it happens outside of probate too, anytime that somebody is responsible for another person's finances or assets, they're called a fiduciary, and it means that they have an obligation to manage those assets or conduct business properly and look out for the interests of the people that they're supposed to be looking out for, either the principal
they got to look out for the
or
person
beneficiaries
that they're responsible for.
Yeah.
They can't self-deal.
Correct.
They can't go give the money away. All right, so
They can't take the money and put it on Red 27 at the casino.
Correct.
Can they put it on Black 24?
You know, unknown.
So I'm Bill.
I'm going with no.
I'm going with no too.
I'm Bill.
Hey, Bill.
I'm seeing Annie, who's taking care of Mom. I suspect Annie's taking the money.
She's bleeding
and maybe
the
she's going to the
estate,
casino.
and
Maybe
she's
she's
taking it.
buying things. But Mom's alive. What can I do? Mom's not dead. What do I do? I can hire a lawyer and send Annie a letter threatening her? Can I file a lawsuit? How do I, if let's say Mom's net worth is $1 million and I'm worried it's all going to go away, and I don't even know whether I'm the beneficiary or not, or whether Annie's being truthful and she's the only beneficiary, but I don't trust Annie.
And what if Annie made Mom
And what
change
if-
her estate?
So I'm worried
That's
about.
a different.
I'm
the
Bill.
path changes
I'm
depending
worried
on those
about.
differences.
I'm worried about Mom, whether Annie's taking proper care of her, and I'm also worried about Bill because I'm thinking that I was going to get half of that money that's left when Mom dies.
Well,
what does Bill do?
So Mom's alive, and as Mom is what we've said is competent, and she's able to deal with her own stuff and is with it. Then the first course,
Talk to Mom.
is talk to Mom. If Mom doesn't know what's going on, or Mom's diminished in some capacity,
I think Mom's diminished because I called her up and she said, Don't you call me. Don't you talk to me. Don't you do anything with me. Everything that Annie's doing for me is what I want. I don't want to even hear you, see you, or talk to you. Do you understand?
Okay, first of all, unscrunch your face a little bit.
Mom was always very gentle and nice too, but she seems to be angry.
So mom
so that
is-
could be
mom
an
appears to
indication
have
that
turned
mom's,
against
mom
brother.
is either legitimately
Do I
turned
get any
against
kind
you.
of award for that? Do I get is there any acting?
The Sarah Bernhardt
do I
Award
get
for
any-
acting?
You
do I
get
any
a
kudos
you
there?
get a Bemmy, Brian's version of the Emmy.
Okay. Okay. So all right. So mom's acting weird.
So if you're not getting any movement with mom, and mom seems to have turned against you, and
I
that's
got
all
nowhere
weird,
with mom.
then you need to consult an attorney, and you may have to file a petition in probate court, looking to say, maybe mom's not competent,
So
maybe
for
mom's been
supervision?
taken advantage of. Maybe mom needs a guardian or a conservator. Okay, this is what you would
'Cause
go in with mom alive.
I don't know for sure.
Yeah, you'd have to get some facts. Try and
Well,
find
what
some
would
facts.
you do? You're the lawyer. I'm coming to you.
I would file a probate petition for guardianship or conservatorship. The court would appoint a guardian ad litem and ask for an independent medical exam, psychological exam of mom. And through the court process, you could get discovery to determine.
So if it was
what's
determined
going
that
on with the
mom was
assets.
incompetent, then the question comes, but if mom's will has been changed, leaving everything to Annie, the question is, when she changed the will, was she competent then? It's complicated, isn't it?
It is complicated. Yes, the question is, when she changed the will, was she competent then?
Well,
But
is
your
it
question
just
Let me finish 1 sec. Your question is going to what's happening to her assets now. The will, what's in the will, only matters after mom dies.
Right.
What's happening now is of concern
Different issue.
now.
Right.
Okay, so if mom dies,
So there has to be an investigation as to what's happening now.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Brad.
if mom dies and
Oh wait! All of a sudden, you're
Yeah, I'm just- my
we
question
still
is
have
just-
her living right now.
yeah, but the issue is the same. Annie's the beneficiary of the estate.
Of almost all the assets.
Right. So how did that happen? And was mom
competent when she
did the
changed her will?
Right.
But can you be competent and be unduly influenced at the same time?
That's a gray area. I mean, these kinds of fights are intensely factually intensive, and it all depends on the circumstances. The answer is yes, you can be. The test is whether or not some outside influence from another person is so strong that it takes over your decision-making process.
Let's take a break and we'll come back on this.
Tax problems are major problems. Don't let the IRS levy your wages and seize your assets. There is a solution.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
If you're behind on your taxes and owe money to the IRS, call THAV GROSS.
We've been solving tax problems for 32 years. We stop wage levies, resolve unfiled returns, and obtain the best possible settlements.
Call THAV GROSS today, 888-235-HELP.
If your loved one is struggling with age-related issues, let our family help your family. Call Samasco Law now. We're family-owned and growing. Meet Joe Frizard and Kelsey Samasco, our newest superstars. We'll handle your issues with care, compassion, and dedication. At Samasco Law, we'll leave no stone unturned until your family is protected for the long term. We'll walk together. That's what families do. Samasco Law. Protect what matters.
If you're retired and in a financial crisis, there is a way out.
It pains me when I see a retired couple exhaust their savings by paying credit card bills and for a home hopelessly underwater.
THAV GROSS specializes in helping retired people in financial crisis.
You just can't keep paying until you're broke. You need to address the problem now.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
Time for announcements. I want to announce THAV GROSS has opened a new office downriver in the Horizon building on Eureka Road. So now we're in Flint, downriver, and also our home office in Bingham Farms. Remember, you can always come in for a free consultation. You can do it by Zoom conference, in the office, any way that works best for you. Just call 888-235-HELP or go to the website, thavgross.com, to sign up. Debt issues, tax issues, estate planning issues, business law issues, elder law issues with Pat or Kelsey, disability issues with Jeff Kirshner. Again, sign up at lawandreality.com or thavgross.com or just call 888-235-HELP. Also, if you go to the website, you'll see there's free reports. Resolving Tax Problems, The Real Solutions by Jeff Linden and myself. Bankruptcy, Is It Right for Me by Brian Small. How to Save Your Home from Foreclosure. Business Formations, Loans and Grants for Small Businesses in Detroit and Michigan. And The Retiree's Guide to Social Security by Pat Simasko. I want to thank our sponsors, THAV GROSS, Simasko Law, Kirshner Law. Now back to the show.
Carrying too much debt? Resolve your debt. Call THAV GROSS.
You don't need to be broke, and you don't need to hit rock bottom. If you have income and you're struggling with debt, dump it. Think about the next 10 or 20 years. If you do what the banks tell you, you'll have nothing to retire with. There is a solution.
Don't waste your future. Call THAV GROSS. We're experts at eliminating credit card debt. 888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP. You can't work. You have to deal with pain and stress. Worse yet, our system for applying for disability benefits seeks to deny you the benefits you're entitled. Jeff Kirshner is an expert in obtaining disability and workers' compensation benefits for his clients. You need to call Jeff before you apply or after you're denied to get the benefits you deserve. 888-235-HELP. 888-235-HELP. Is the debt piling up? Struggling to get by?
It's all about preserving future income. Bankruptcy is one option. When it's right, it's the least costly, most effective way to save your home, eliminate a second mortgage, and wipe out credit card debt. But you need to address the problem now.
We help people with bankruptcy. Call the experts.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
All right, we're back. So let's talk about that. You raised a real interesting issue is the will got changed, and Mom may have been competent, but was she unduly influenced? So those are hard fact issues. Ultimately, if you're in probate court or if you're in a lawsuit in circuit court, when you have difficult fact issues, you only get the outcome if you go to trial and you have the trial and you win. You have to understand something. Getting from filing a lawsuit to trying the case takes a lot of money and attorneys to get there. And the more money it costs, the greater the risk of losing is presented. So there's a strategy that comes into play towards settlement. In your case, if you're Bill challenging Annie, you're not going to know even for sure whether Mom was competent or not. You think she's not, but you don't know what her state of mind was when she changed her will, and you don't know what level of influence Annie exerted over her at the time you're filing the petition.
Correct.
But if you suspect it, you file it. You get into the ring and you're fighting. And when you're fighting, at some point in time, settlement becomes a good strategy for both Bill and for both Annie. Because if Annie loses, then Bill gets 50%.
Maybe.
If before the will was changed, they were 50-50 beneficiaries.
Right.
If Bill loses, Annie gets 100%.
Right. But Bill's got to understand that until he gets there, and wherever he stops and gets off that train, whether it's end of trial or in the middle, that he's got to pay the ticket. He's got to pay the freight.
Well,
of that fight.
if you
Unless
win,
you could hire an attorney on a contingency, which would be a lot.
Which is
if
difficult.
you win,
Yeah.
you go and you can prove that Annie abused her power over Mom.
You could get it removed.
Do you get your attorney's fees?
You can ask. There's provisions where a court may order that in the right circumstances if the person that you're suing, the fiduciary, has taken money, has breached your duty, and if your action has benefited yourself or the other heirs or that class or the trust or something like that, you can ask. It's not a guarantee, but you can ask, and again, depending on the circumstances and how the court feels that plays out, the court may award you your attorney's
But would
fees.
those fees come from the estate, or would those fees come from Annie?
Again, it depends. They could come from either or both.
You have a better chance against Annie if Annie breached a fiduciary duty while she was the trustee or while she was the personal representative who was after Mom
Annie
died.
took advantage and benefited from it and took money into her own hands for it, you have a better chance of getting her to have to pay and not come from the estate. If Annie maybe made some mistakes or was negligent in doing something and stuff got twisted around and wasn't acting in bad faith, then maybe the circumstances.
Here's the interesting thing. We're into the Annie and Bill and Mom scenario, and this is what I would call a very common probate contested matter.
Yes.
Not at all unusual. You run into this stuff all the time. Another example, but we don't have time to really get into it, is suppose Dad owns a family business and he leaves the family business. He can't decide what he wants to happen with the business when he dies. He doesn't want it just instantly to be sold. He doesn't want to just give it to the children. So he leaves it in a trust. He appoints his brother as the trustee and says, run the business. The beneficiaries will be my children, my 2 kids, and you can give them distributions from the business, and if you sell the business, they get the money. But you run the business, you make all the decisions. Now, suppose brother's running the business, and the 2 kids are not happy. They want greater distributions. And the brother's saying, no, I'm keeping the money in the company for reserves to run the business. When we sell the company, you'll get the money. What do the kids do?
The kids have to try and do an investigation to find some facts that their uncle is not managing things properly. And if not, then they have to go to probate court, file a petition. and seek
Either
to
way,
have
even
him
if they
supervise.
found those facts, they'd have to go to the probate court,
Yeah.
wouldn't they?
Yes, but yes, and then the probate court would enter. You'd ask for what's called supervision. The probate court would supervise the management of the trust and look over the shoulder of the trustee, do an investigation, probably appoint independent
And if
investigators.
the trustee was found to have done nothing wrong, then what happens?
Then the court would probably dismiss the petition. The trustee could probably seek its costs and attorney's fees from.
I mean, is it a fair statement as this? If Dad wanted the trustee to make all those decisions and didn't trust his children to make those decisions, should the court sustain Dad's wishes? Isn't that what the court's supposed to do?
The court will use the yardstick of what was Dad's, the deceased person's intent. That's the yardstick by which all these actions should be
And they
measured.
determine that by reading the trust?
Yes,
Other facts too?
yes.
So bottom line is all these contested probate is half of it's greed, and the other half of it is maybe there's some meat
The
on the
hard
bone.
thing is determining whether the person seeking relief in the probate court is motivated by greed
Or concern.
or concern
Right.
or fairness. And that changes case by case. Have a great week. We'll be back next week with Law and Reality.